The 2023 CrossFit Open is coming quickly, and I wanted to create a video for you to share some tips on how to maximize your performance in the Open. But first, I thought I would pull out of the archives some footage of me doing my second CrossFit Open. It's from 2015, and I was about 15 months into CrossFit at the time, so take a look at this guy. I remember in 2015, 16, 17, the CrossFit Open was just the epitome of the year of CrossFit training that I've been doing. And so as the Open approached, I would just have this sinking anxiety feeling in my gut. And
I'm also very excited. I'm nervous, I'm excited.
It's coming, I hope I'm ready, I hope I'm good enough. And I remember specifically when I would be driving to the gym to do a CrossFit Open event, thinking, as I'm driving an hour from now, I'm gonna be in the most pain. Because I was almost scared of the Open. It was just a blind rush to get in, get the workout done, and hope that I did great because I really wanted to get to the CrossFit Games at that time, 2016, 2017. And if you know my story, I didn't make it those years, but I did make it in 2018. But in this video, I want to share some advice on how I prepare for major qualifiers like the CrossFit Open. Tip number one, build your intensity. It's time to work on your aerobic and anaerobic capacity and your ability to take shorter breaks between sets or reps in a specific workout. In other words, we just want to build up your overall tolerance to pain. I think that tolerance can be built, it can be nurtured, it can be increased, that your pain threshold can actually be increased as you practice getting deep into the pain cave. And that's what we want to do in the next couple of weeks. We want to get really used to and build up a tolerance to that level of pain. Now here's one of the things that I like to do to help me navigate that pain. So as I look at a workout and as I'm completing the workout, I'm thinking about how I'm breathing in order to stay engaged in the workout and not just stop. So for example, on wall balls, I have a particular way that I breathe on wall balls where I take a deep inhale as the ball is coming down and I catch it and I hold my breath through the bottom of the wall ball squat, and as I explode out of the bottom and throw the wall ball, I actually blow out my breath as I release the wall ball. As it touches the wall, I take a big inhale as it comes down, and I cycle like that. I have one breath per wall ball. That's how I do it. It actually gives me something to focus on, specifically while I'm experiencing, a really decent amount of pain, because big sets of wall balls are really painful. So my focus is on hitting the target, first of all, but second of all, focus on how I'm breathing in that in order to regulate my breathing and make sure that my body is just breathing like that. And I practice it in all of my workouts so that when it comes to a test, an open test, quarterfinals, semifinals, I just do the same kind of wall ball that I've always been doing. Along with that, I will think about how to take shorter rests when I do need a break. Let's say we're doing a bunch of power cleans and I need to take a break. Well, I could take a break and I could look at the clock and say, okay, at the 10-second mark, I'm gonna pick up the barbell again. When I really struggle, I don't wanna look at the clock, I don't wanna be doing math in my head. So what I'll do is, based on how I'm feeling, I'll tell myself, when I take a break, as I'm in the middle of these power cleans, I will allow myself 3 deep breaths before I pick up the bar and get going again. And that's just what I'll do. So I'll drop the bar, breathe, 2, 3. Before I allow myself a 4th breath, I have to have the barbell in my hands. And that allows me to minimize the breaks and minimize the rest. And I'll do that on anything. If I'm going to take a break in a workout, I start counting my breaths. And I'm really paying attention to try to keep the amount of rest as short as possible, especially when I'm trying to stay close to that pain threshold, close to that red line, and just get used to it. Never putting my hands on my knees, never keeling over. It's just stand there, 1, 2, 3 breaths and go, and then just jump into the next thing. That's how I stay engaged in that pain cave of that workout. Tip number 2, practice. Practice moving efficiently, as well as practicing moderate sets of things like barbell cycling, thrusters, which we see almost every year in the Open, wall balls, jump rope. This year, we're gonna see a jump rope. Gymnastics movements like handstand push-ups, handstand walking, shuttle runs, which we'll likely see this year. And what I mean by practice, for example, let's go back to this wall ball example. Not only am I paying attention to my breathing, but when I'm practicing wall balls, I'm always focusing on that very first rep, or the first rep in between between each set to hit that target. I can't tell you how many times in competition I have airballed the first wall ball, or I've shorted it, and that's just a wasted rep. So in practice, I'm gonna practice hitting that med ball right above the line and make sure it hits on that first one, and then I'll hit the second, third, and fourth. But I don't want to waste reps by missing the first rep on wall balls. We want to practice double unders. Jump ropes are included in this year's equipment list, so we want to be able to get into doing double unders. Shoot, there may even be single unders this year, given that there were single unders in the CrossFit Games. So practice your single unders, practice double unders, practice going from single unders to double unders to single unders, and get yourself into a position where you're proficient at that movement. As far as efficiency goes, think about thrusters. So when we extend and have that barbell up overhead on a thruster, do we start to drop before the barbell touches our shoulders, or do we wait for the barbell to hit our shoulders and then go into the thruster and then come back up, or do we do something a little bit more fluid? So practice being really efficient at thrusters. I think of thrusters and wall balls as almost the same. As the wall ball is coming down, or as the thruster is coming down, I'm actually already dropping under it. By the time I catch the wall ball or I catch the barbell, I am almost to the bottom of the movement, ready to rebound out of that squat into that thruster or into that wall ball. We want to practice the efficiency in these movements, and you can practice efficiency at light weights so that you can get acclimated to that efficient movement pattern. It might be a good idea to practice burpees. Practice bar-facing burpees, since we always see those. What's your way of doing bar-facing burpees? What's the most efficient way for you? For some people, it's flopping over the bar, like as floppy as possible, like a rag doll. For others, like me, it's more like being a machine. I do a drop, a step up, hop on the bar, step, drop. That's how I do high reps of bar-facing burpees. If I'm going fast, it's just a snap up over, but I have my rhythm on how I do fast burpees, how I do moderate burpees, how I do huge sets of burpees a little slower and more machine-like. So practice your various versions of burpees so that when they come out for the open, you're ready for that. Don't forget to figure out how to breathe during a burpee. Find out how you breathe in order to keep your breathing regulated in those 3 different types of burpees. And there may be more high-skill movements like handstand walking, handstand push-ups, bar muscle-ups, ring muscle-ups, probably, since rings are part of the equipment list. If you haven't gotten your first ring muscle-up, first bar muscle-up, first handstand walk, it's time to be practicing that, and maybe the open is your chance to do it for the first time. Don't overly stress about trying to master the highest level skills if you don't have the ability to do them yet. Maybe this is your year to have the first one. If you already have an ability to do the high-level gymnastic skills, it is time to practice cycling those, to cycle handstand walking and move quickly as opposed to just getting across the floor. On handstand push-ups, how quickly can you move through strict handstand push-ups or kipping handstand push-ups? Can you cycle big sets of bar muscle-ups, or when do you need to take a break in those? By practicing those higher skill movements, you'll get a really clear expectation of your capacity. So when it comes to the open, you can start to strategize and plan for how you're going to break up your sets because you've practiced these skills in preparation. Tip number 3, it's time to test some prior CrossFit Open workouts. Since you've done all this practice and you've got a pretty good idea of your capacity on lots of different movements, pick some of the older open workouts and test them or retest them like this is an actual open event. So what I like to do when I'm practicing an open workout is I like to actually set up a camera, because for all open workouts, I always set up a camera. One, I want to share with you guys how I did in the open, but also I want to practice having a camera up because I want to practice all the things you need to do to have a camera while you're recording a workout, making sure everything is in the screen so that I'm ready for quarterfinals and semifinals where I'm required to record those videos. I also strategize about how I'm going to get through the workout. So I'm going to think about how I'm going to break up wall ball sets, or I'm going to think about how I'm going to break up the double unders if there's huge amounts of double unders. On the thrusters, what's going to be my strategy for breaking this up when it gets really, really hard? And I lock that strategy in my head and I call my shot. So it might be, I'm going to get done with this workout in 9 minutes and 30 seconds. I've done the math. I think this is how quickly I can get through all of these different movements. That's my workout time. Or how many rounds I'm going to get through in this 15-minute AMRAP. I call 14 rounds in this 15-minute AMRAP. Okay, so I called my shot. 3, 2, 1, go. Camera started. Do the workout. Stick to your strategy. Feel the pain. Regulate your breathing. And after you finish the workout, grab your video, review your video, see if you could have moved in any different way, if you could have been a little bit more strategic, how you moved around the floor, when you got shocked, how many breaths you took when you rested, and evaluate if you were accurate in calling your shot. And if you weren't, if it took you way longer or you went way faster, what was wrong with your original prediction? What was easier than you thought? What was harder than you thought? Where did it get really sticky? There's always that sticky spot in some of those workouts. And here's an idea. I like to do things like this on Fridays. I always think of Friday as kind of a full send Friday. That's something that Mayhem does, and oftentimes in previous years, it's been the few Fridays leading up to the CrossFit Open where I'm repeating those open workouts. I call it full send Friday. It gets my brain brain and my body and all my training sort of geared around training Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, taking Thursday as a recovery day, and Friday sending it. And that's what it's like through the open season. Tip number 4, dial in your foundational health. I'm talking sleep, recovery, and nutrition. The open or any qualifier season is a time to make sure you're sleeping 7 to 8 hours or more every night, not just the night before the open, but you're building up your sleep reservoir leading up to that big event. Make sure you are going into the open fully recovered. Recovery for me looks like getting in the sauna or hot tub multiple times during the week prior to that event. So it might be finish my training session on Wednesday, hit the sauna or hot tub, a little bit of sauna, hot tub on Thursday, ready to hit it hard on Friday, and also incorporating walking for recovery or biking for recovery into those days as well. I generally like to try to walk or bike every day as part of recovering from my training, but I'm especially going to be doing that following my training session the Wednesday before a Friday open workout and on my recovery day, which is Thursday, where I do always take a walk or a decent bike ride, even on my Concept 2 biker. And with nutrition, there really shouldn't be any big changes. You should be eating consistently and precisely throughout the year. If you want to be really good at this isn't something we just dial in around the open. This should be something that has been dialed in for months and months and months. But if it hasn't been, let's really dial it in now, making sure we're hitting our caloric intake every day with the proper proportions of macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats. And that we're doing that on a consistent basis through our training. So when it comes to the day of the open, it's nothing new. It's basically the same thing we eat on a regular training day, the same way we fuel ourselves for a regular training day. If you have an apple or banana as your pre-workout before you train, that's what we're gonna do for the open. Regardless of what the workout is, we're gonna do the same thing we would on any kind of a training day. It's not a day to like jack yourself up on some sort of caffeinated pre-workout before an open workout and then just feel your body go berserk.
So I start marching my way down to Carol and HR, and I knock on her door and I say, Carol!
It's the day to be consistent with what you always do. And again, you should be doing this throughout the year. Sleep, recovery, nutrition, these are foundational for just basic training. So let's make sure those are dialed in, especially now, but really throughout the whole year. And if you like videos like this, where we're sort of talking about strategy and how to perform well, you should check out my performance coaching group. It's a paid group where we talk about this stuff all the time. I love talking about it. I love this group of people who are just all looking to perform better in CrossFit. And stay tuned throughout the open. After every open announcement, I will either go live
22.1 is a triplet,
or I will have a video just after the open announcement to share my thoughts, my reaction, and my strategy for the open workout. And in the comments below, let me know if this is your first CrossFit Open workout or your 10th, and how I can be most helpful for you through this CrossFit Open season. See you next time.